What's poppin', y'all? I know what y'all thinking. How do we get here? What is he doing? Is this the update? We missed you. Where'd you go? You've been gone for 2 weeks. I got all the answers to y'all questions, man. Y'all tapped in with the Head of the Game podcast, bro. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So, let's just do a recap on the last video I did, which was the going local. Feel me? Going back to the cribbo, man. Getting out of my last mega carrier and pretty much setting the OTR life away, at least for good, you know? And just long story short, I've had 2.5 weeks off. Now, before I get into all the details, I just want to give y'all this sentiment as far as like this industry and what it has to offer just all together, right? Hold on, make sure the cold air going, man. Right, so I was able to take off 2.5 weeks. I saved up enough money, and the industry, as far as your money management, goes hand in hand, right? Because and they gotta be in tandem, because if you don't have the industry, then you don't have the money to manage. But if you also have the money management, but without the industry to make that money, y'all get what I'm saying, right? So, long story short, I'm just expressing the sentiment of I was able to put in my 2 weeks, take 2.5 weeks off, reassess, reflect on life, reset the course, re-strategize, and go after whatever opportunity I feel like best fits my next chapter, right? And I'm saying all that to say is that most people that sit up there and they take 2 weeks off of work without no pay, their whole life fall apart. My bills, rent, all expenses paid, right? I was able to endure that. I was able to make this decision. Now, what decision is that I make? Well, you may be asking, well, I already thought you made a decision. I thought you quit said company so that you could work local at home. Let's get right into it. So, this is what happens when trying to go local goes wrong. And this is a very controversial video. Lots of mixed feelings. And I'm just going to sit up there and say, I don't want nobody feeling sad for me. I don't want nobody sitting up there grabbing their tissues or put your tissue box away. You feel me? I don't need nobody feeling bad for me. You feel me? This is going to be a good story. So I want y'all to sit back, relax, and, allow this story to, take place, right? So, let's just pick up from where we left off on the last video when I'm saying regarding like what the company had left off as when I first hit them up, right? So let's just get into the nitty gritty because I don't think I touched on this. So meanwhile, while I had put in my 2 weeks for, not because this local position, it just so happened I came across the local position. It was more so of how the company was treating me, because I don't think I even would have went local or think about going local if said company was taking care of me, right? So the company I was with, they switched out my truck, they put a camera in it, and they gave me a truck with bad batteries. So when the bunker heater, you feel me, or the power inverter, however you want to call it, was failing in the middle of the night, and I was in Arizona in the middle of the summer, I wake up drenched in sweat because it's 114 degrees outside. You know that kind of temperature hitting the vehicle, right? So I was like, all right, I'm only going to endure so much. I already been kind of like moving the ground from up under my feet, you feel me, regarding like the direction and how I need to be placed in this company. There really wasn't no consistency. It was just, a lot of volatility. So I got fed up with that. and I decided to put in my 2 weeks. So as I was job searching to find whatever opportunity I needed to come across in order to transition, I so happened to call about said local position. That's how we got here, right? So first thing I did, got on Craigslist, seen that they had some positions open, boom, typed in the application, knocked that out, called up the hotline, and they transferred me over to a recruiter, the receptionist, and I was able to get a possible interview set up, right? So the interview setup finally came, and I finally got on the phone with the recruiter, and we did the interview, and pretty much the only thing I was trying to indicate, which most industries, at least especially when it comes down to mega carriers or, companies with large fleets, they usually don't have the political game that most careers play, which is, hey, not only you gotta show me that you're credentialed, but you gotta sell yourself far as like playing the political game, far as how much they like you, how much you gonna still be a part of the status quo, the mission statement, so on and so forth. You can't come in there as an individual. You gotta sell yourself to the bigger cause, quote unquote, right? So that's how I thought this situation was gonna go. So after that was done and set aside, the sentiment that was left off with me that I thought it was a home run, that I was hook, line, and sinker, was that they needed to schedule me for a road test. So it was a road test, drug test, and then, W-2 forms and all the other stuff to be able to make sure I was compliant with whatever they felt like I needed to, indicate to them that I was a suitable fit for this company, right? So I get home. I turn my truck in. I leave the keys up in there with the ELD, the tablet. And I was able to finally call up the company, and what they tell me is that I call up the company, right? And they tell me that the position is filled. Now let's take a minute and let that breathe right there, man. Despite all I just told y'all, right? Let's take a moment to really think about this. They said the position was filled. And in my mind, my mind's racing. I'm in disbelief because everything, they sound very polite. They sound very respectful. But a part of me felt betrayed because I felt like, I was already in the midst of my 2 weeks, but it was still in limbo, meaning that if I would have changed my mind the last minute, my company would have retained me and I could have pivoted off this position and retained my current position at that time, right? So the damage has already been done. I'm already at home. I'm unemployed. And I have some decisions to make. Because prior to me leaving this company, I had asked my manager at the time, the district manager, or the general manager, if I had to go back to said company, what would be the process in order to ensure that this would be a seamless transition if I were to go back. And the manager said, hey, all right, well, all you have to do is, if it's within 6 months, sign a piece of paper, sign some paperwork, they'll throw you a truck, sign your truck, get back rolling, and pick up where you left off from. I'm like, cool. So that was really the push to make me pursue the next thing. So because I was understanding that I really wasn't burning the bridge. You feel me? Maybe the matchbox was sitting on the end of the bridge, but I ain't let it on fire because, hey, you never know. You feel me? You never know. So moving on. What did I do after this, right? You know what I did. I had to sit up there, call him back, and get on the interview, the recruiter head, about sending me a bill of goods when I could have been also looking for other potential suitors or other potential opportunities, to continue my trucking career, right? So I'm at home. I'm at the crib. Now, I'm having mixed feelings because, just to give y'all some context, I was off 2.5 weeks. I have not had this much time off in about 5 years. Since I started back working from being laid off from the pandemic. So this was a lot of downtime, a lot of R&R. You know, if y'all young, you feel me? R&R stands for, for rest and relaxation, you feel me? There's a lot of downtime, a lot of time to kick it. I already had, and it was my birthday. Oh, let me not forget about that. It was my birthday week. What better birthday gift could I have gotten? A new job, and it's local, and I'm about to get it all on my birthday week, right? So it's mixed feelings, you feel me? So I'm kicking it, I'm relaxing, I'm reflecting. I'm also applying. I'm not just sitting on my ass and not doing nothing, you feel me? I'm applying, I'm researching, I'm comparing and contrasting. And I ain't gonna lie, things started to look a little tight. So I'm gonna give y'all one company that gave me a shot for an interview. Give y'all a company name. Shamrock Foods. Now, Shamrock Food, for anybody that understands food service is a 6-figure paying CDLA tractor trailer. You feel me? Truck driving job. You feel me? Damn near right out the gate. So they gave me an interview. It was a Zoom interview. Had to do it over the phone, but it was like a virtual interview, so on and so forth. Think I did pretty good on the interview, but how many people they made it seem like they were interviewed, I probably wasn't on the top of the list as far as like qualified, top of the food chain or whatever, right? So it had me thinking. I was like, damn, all right, well, I can't put all my eggs in one basket. It seemed like, and the lady, I think she was trying to be nice, but she said, oh yeah, I put a star by your application. Yeah, sounds like I'm not gonna get it. You feel me? As cute as that sounds, don't seem like I got the position. So, moving on. Started doing more apps. Then I was thinking about going to Night. Night was thirsty. Night was thirsty. Trying to take your boy on, man. You feel me? And I was about to go with them. But based off the reviews, Night don't pay that much. Especially for the tri-state, which is Vegas, Cali, and Arizona or something like that. I don't know. Salt Lake City, whatever the case may be. Tri-state. Which, is Phoenix, LA, Vegas. Right? Don't pay that much because you're not driving that far. And I don't want to be sitting up there rocking with, be in the truck for a week and I'm only driving 5, 6, 7 hours a day. Nah, if I'm in the truck, I'm trying to drive and make my money. And if I got real downtime, I want to spend it at the crib. Night was thirsty. And I was considering on going back, which was going to be the last resort, going back to my previous mega carrier. And the last interview that I had this Friday that just passed was an Amazon freight partner carrier, right? Which is pretty decent, pretty dope. Slip seat, 2 days on, 2 days out, but I ain't gonna lie. I'm used to seeing my money in a certain way. I wasn't trying to be making 900, 800 take home, you feel me? And though I'm home a lot more, I feel like I'm gonna be able to do a lot less because I'm making a lot less, right? So, the last step to this, right? Which was, and this account came out of nowhere. Now, I found the new mega carrier, and it wasn't ideal as being home every day, but I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm not saying this because I just got on with this company, but based off the account, and like I said, if y'all do y'all research, y'all can probably put 2 and 2 together and figure out what company I went with this time. they have a Google account. Now, this is why I said in previous videos, when you first get your CDL, just get the endorsements out the way, man. Just get them out the way. Don't prolong, don't wait. I got my CDL, let me go find a company, all right, so on and so forth. Yes, do that. And I'm not sitting up there saying you're going to be able to use your endorsements right away. But this is why I say this is important. Is that this specific account for this mega carrier is under Google. $1 trillion industry, $1 trillion corporation. And they have an account where you're transferring freight to data centers, the AI data centers they're starting to build, right? So lots of action, lots of productivity, lots of potential. Definitely paying way more than the standard industry standard, but it requires for you to have a hazmat. Now, this company specifically said they was gonna pay for my hazmat, but I'm already coming through the door with it, so that don't really apply to me. You're paying 66 cents per mile, and I'm not even at my full year. They said they're gonna pay 69 cents per mile once I get to my first year. Right, home weekly, so the home time is pretty decent, and I'm only gonna be driving from one state to the other state, and that's it. Here is the part that y'all gonna be scratching your head, right? So, talk to the recruiter. The recruiter goes through the interview. The recruiter makes sure that it's gonna go through a review board, make sure to verify everything that was said over this phone, that everything is background checked, and everything's compliant for everything that was said on this phone. Boom, right? Everything's smooth. I get ready. I call him back. He like, I sent you the email, your itinerary, as far as everything you're gonna need, so on and so forth. All right, here's your rental, and you're gonna start your orientation on Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. Long story short, I don't think nothing of the email because I've gotten itineraries from my last mega carrier, you feel me? And everything was just in there. So I didn't think twice about it. When it actually came time for when I got the rental and I packed my bag and so on and so forth, and it was time to hit the road, I was sitting up there like, all right, let me go find the confirmation email for me to get to this said hotel. Here's where things took a turn for the worse. And if y'all I already see our imagination just glowing, you feel me? We all on the same page. The person, the recruiter did not book my room, bro. So, and I'm gonna add this last point. The recruiter also told me that I made the last cut and all the positions is filled for this account. And I stay in Las Vegas. And the rental car was meant for me to go to the Fontana training center, whatever the case may be, right? I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I was between a rock and a hard place. I was sitting up there thinking like, man, so I'm calling. It's after hours. Nobody picking up the phone. Nobody at the office. I'm like, dang, all right. I call the after hours. The after hours like, hey, I'm gonna give you this number to call the regular number you just called. And I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, so how is it that a recruiter, your job is to recruit. How do you mess up the recruit? When the person is already aligned to sit up there and rock with your company? How do you mess up the recruitment?